What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex, the podcast. And we have Weeps here once again. The grind is officially over. It is, damn, that was a hefty grind. That was a hefty. I want you to highlight that grind real quick for the boys.
It's tough, man. The last season that they made it with no splits. So I had to grind the entire season instead of just, half of it. So it was 105 something days. I'm not too sure. And that was something, man. I was battling. Finished number 2 in the world, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty amped about that. But I was going up against a zone healer account sharer that ended up number 3. He was account sharing for 95% of the season. Only got a 5-day ban, which is, find that insane. I think if anybody's account sharing for ranked, you should be banned for the rest of the season or, something. And then while I was number 3 and 4, I had a guy who was hard cheating, aimbot type stuff out in Japan. He got banned, so shout out to the Apex, security team. Shout out Hideouts for getting that done. Finished number 2, and we're back, and it's season 20.
There we go. There we go. I love to hear it. Yeah, I mean, were you 1 and 2 back-to-back seasons?
No. So I was number 1. Yeah, I was number 1 season 17, and then 18, I was top 100 somewhere because I grinded 1,400 hours season 17, bro. So I couldn't grind number 1 style. And then season 19, number 2.
There we go. There we go. We love to see it. Well, we have a good show for you guys here today. We're going to go through and talk about the tripod situation. We're also, because it's like that mid-season split, kind of waiting to see what the rest of the match days have in store. We will be going over some of the other regions just briefly, kind of highlighting some of the teams that would be making land if it were to start today. And then we'll talk about season 20 all the way through, legends that you guys should be looking at, running, weapons you guys should be looking at and running, and what we expect to see in ALGS moving forward the rest of the season if some new legends make their headway into the split and into the scene. We'll see. We'll discuss. We'll do all of that. But before we do that, let's get a quick run through with all of the boys here. E, how are you feeling, my man? You're so muted.
I'm so muted. That's so funny, bro. Even on the pod, I just can't.
Can't help it.
Nah, I can't help it. I mean, I'm finishing off these tater tots while we were getting the rundown of the 1 and 2 grind, that's like, from a sheer like grind perspective, like that's just substantially impressive in terms of like just the commitment to a goal and then like putting the time in consistently over a long period of time. So like huge props to you, especially with what you have to deal with Apex Legends ranked, because there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit that happens, and so
we'll get to all that.
Yeah,
we'll get to all that.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah. It's just mental exercises for sure. But yeah, I'm doing well. The season is really good. I would say that it's more than likely the best season that I've played in recent time. And then I would say it would be the best season point blank period if we could do something about the just rampant cheaters.
It's bad.
It's really bad. And I'm sure we'll like talk about it at some point. But man, it's just such a good season at the core. And if they could get this in check, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But even then, at the end of the day, like if you're queuing up and you're playing Apex Legends ranked, you should expect the fact that you're like knowingly putting yourself in a situation where you're more than likely going to die to a cheater. And so it's just an opportunity to have that happen and get in and try to, do your best to not get pissed off, And so I've been getting a lot of practice and getting a little bit closer each and every time.
Yeah, tons of practice.
Oh, lots of it.
Yeah. My week's good. So I am not good enough to have to deal with cheaters right now. So that's A+ for me. So I've been just having a blast with this brand new season. It's the most time I've put in a while, like a very long time. I feel really good about all of it. I will say though, going back to the cheating thing, and we will break it down a little bit more later. But when I saw in the patch notes that they were moving the level cap from 50
Oof.
down to 20 again, I was like, that's not gonna go well. Like
I knew it.
yeah, that's one of those where you see instant red flags and you're like, oh shit, like it's going to be bad again. And the other thing too is it seems like every time there's a season that seems to be really popular and people are liking, that's when the cheating situation gets its worst. So yeah, it's been tough. But other than that, I've been really enjoying it. So that's that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm doing. As far as just regular life goes, I'm doing good as well. I will say missing out on some ALGS this weekend kind of sucked. I thought that there was some going down and I was ready to lose bets again. And there was nothing to lose this time, so got a little extra money in my pocket, feeling good. And then yeah. So that's that. Peeps, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I took a week off for the first time in I don't know how long, man. So I've only played 14 hours of season 20, and already, bro, I'm like, my last two games I played today died to a hard waller, like no shame about it, not even trying to hide it, and a name botter. So that was fun. He hit me with a 301, from 100 yards, like it was season 0, and I was playing against Hal. So I want to make it known too for the viewers. A big part of why a lot of cheaters are here this season in high rank lobbies, there's no more zone healing. There's no more zone healing. There's no more ratting for pred. So a lot of these accounts are getting boosted by cheaters, or the accounts that want to level up to pred or high pred or anything like that. They're back to cheating. Plus they dropped the level requirement, which I don't think should be a thing. Because it really helps slow down cheaters from getting back once they've been banned. So, if anybody from Apex is listening, man, please, we're begging you. The millions,
Bring it back to 50.
yeah, the thousands of players in high rank lobbies, we're begging you.
Yeah,
Bring it back.
100%. 100%. Well, we will get to all that here in a second when we get into season 20. I'm glad you guys are doing good. Let's break it down with probably the biggest story from this week so far. Obviously, no match day, so not a whole lot to talk about on that front, but a big story coming out is Tripods is disbanding. And when I say disbanding, not really. Deeds and Gent are still staying together and they're still playing, but Nick Merckx is departing away from Apex. And I don't know if I've seen any like official comment on why, but I did see that Deeds went on stream and was saying that Nick kind of just fell out of love with the game. He did start playing Call of Duty again, was playing Warzone, and it seemed like he was kind of like fully focused into that. So the tripods are now the bipods until they find that third once again. But I just want to get you guys' thoughts on everything moving forward with the tripods.
What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it was fairly clear that Nick was kind of losing the passion for the game. And then when he did hop on COD, it makes sense that he'd be having fun with the guys that he was playing with during that time, because he played Warzone for a substantial period before making the switch over to Apex. And so it's not really too much of a surprise there. I do think that it is exciting that Gent and Deeds are going to be staying together and keeping that chemistry that they've built up to this point. And I think if they find like a solid IGL and that like a third player that could really mesh with them well, that could be an incredibly dangerous team. And it's it sucks to see a content creator that's as big as Nick Merckx leave the space, because he brings a lot of attention just with inherently who he is. And so from that perspective, it's unfortunate to see, but I just feel like you just got to wish him nothing but the best, and that he's making a decision that's best for him, and you just got to be happy for all involved that people are just going to be doing what they're passionate about.
I agree, man. I agree. I mean, we've all been there where we sort of get in a spot where Apex just isn't hitting the way it used to hit for us. I've taken a couple breaks, whether it's a month, 2 months, but it always brings me back. It definitely is sad that we're losing Nick. Because why, like you said, he brings so many eyes to Apex, and viewership wise, that's massive for um sponsors for the ALGS, which is always a big thing. At the end of the day, it is a business, and you know, it needs to make some money for it to make sense for EA. I do wish we could go back in time a little bit and have EA give that spot that they were able to give out to anybody they wanted, 2 tripods, just as a business decision.
I was thinking
Um,
that as well.
because on tourney days, Nick's bringing what, 20k viewers to Apex, something like that.
For sure.
On any regular day, 10 to 15,000. That's 10 to 15,000 people every single day. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. So definitely, definitely a loss for Apex right there. But I'm happy for Nick, man. At the end of the day, we're all gamers. We game to have fun, and it's good to see that he's, you know, following his heart and doing what's funnest and best for him. So huge props to him. And best of luck to Deeds and Jet, man. I mean, dangerous combination. If like you said, if they can find the right fit, somebody to IGL these guys, because they got gunnies, man. Mechanically, they are insane.
Like unquestionable. They got
Yeah.
guys.
I think the best byproduct from this was getting to see how Gent and Deeds play, when they get back into this. Like, this is no shade towards Nick Merckx, but there's so many great players out there, and Nick came into the game a little bit later than everybody else. To do what he did and accomplish what he accomplished was very big. Like, he was able to get into Pro League. Obviously, he was invited, but it's not like he was dead last in the league. Like, they were playing well. They had won some games, and his skill massively improved. But there are a lot of players out there who are already at that level. And we had seen what Gent could do at the highest level for a long time with G2. And now it's like, okay, this big name is back out there. It's going to be so cool to see like what happens with that situation, and not even to mention Deeds, right? So that I think is going to be a very cool, side project and thing that we can watch out for, is just see how they bounce back. Now he has to make it all the way through challengers and that kind of stuff. But I think he's 100% capable of doing it. I think they are 100% capable of doing it. And that's going to be super, super fun. I did want to go back to what you were saying too, Weeps, because like with Nick Merckx and not giving them the invite, whatever you feel about the guy, that amount of viewers is so massive to an organization, especially when it comes down to needing the money to keep the thing going, right? Like, getting that many eyeballs, that's 20,000 wallets right there. And I feel like that was kind of a misstep on their part. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really agree with that decision, because that's so many people. Like, that's so many people, and a lot of people who probably don't follow it religiously, and maybe wouldn't tune into this show because it's not their vibe, because they don't watch it like very often. But when they do watch it, they're watching their favorite content creator compete in it, and who knows, maybe it hooks them, maybe it grabs them, and all of a sudden, they want to see more and learn more, and then go into different areas of the sport. So I do think that was kind of a misstep, and I feel like if we could go back in time, that would be the right play. That would be the right call, and I think that's partly the reason why he's leaving as well. Like you said, we all get tired of Apex at some point. I mean, I've been running 2 podcasts on it for a while now, and there's been times where I'm talking about the game and I haven't played it in like a month and a half, because I just can't. I'm just not in it.
That is
But
our
then
casual king right
That's
there,
right.
ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
right.
Somebody's got to do it.
That's right. But I keep going. And I do think Nick will come back. I don't know if it'll be in the like hardcore competitive aspect of it, but I do see Nick coming back, because like you guys say, Apex will piss you off to the ends of the earth, but it just brings you, it has what the other games don't have. And I don't even know exactly what it is, but it just has something.
It's
So I do
dude,
think Nick will come back.
dude. It's for me, at least, and I speak for thousands, possibly millions of people, it's the best shooter. All right, battle royale, at least by far. Like, you know, you got the legends,
Especially
you got
like
the
controller
guns.
for sure.
Like,
For sure. No
it's,
doubt.
It's so good, man. Like, I play other shooters, and that's always been like my go-to for video games is shooters. I was a big Call of Duty guy. Was actually, I don't know if you guys know this or not, was actually the number 3 player in the world the first 2 weeks of MW2 on the PlayStation 3 for kills, and number 1 for demolition. So I'm a Call of Duty guy growing up, right? Once I've played Apex, no other shooter feels good enough, you know. And I want to give a huge shout out to the devs, to the Apex team, to EA, to everybody here who contributed into making this game, because I've been in love with this game for 5 years. Like, fellas, we just had our 5 years like birthday for Apex.
That's crazy.
A couple weeks ago, right? That's half a decade. And so I'm excited, man. I'm excited. You know, just as excited to see who Deeds and Gent are going to be picking up, man. I mean,
so
they need an IGL.
right now. Yeah. So speaking of that, because that goes into the whole next thing, like who are they going to pick up? I did see that they were playing with Onmu right now, which I'm a big fan of Onmu. Like that guy, my first ever interview with any pro when I was a nobody, I'll always follow that guy's career, and I want him like the best of success for him. I think he would be a great pickup. I think he's a great player. He won a major competition. It wasn't a land because of COVID, but won with Kongarna, has won before, has great experience with 100 Thieves. I think that would be like a really solid pickup. Have you guys seen anybody else that maybe they've been playing with other than Onmu?
I haven't been looking too much because I took a week off, but I will say, as Onmu's roommate, all right, I wish this guy nothing but the best. One of 3 of America's first champion for Apex. And the guy just has like a grinded attitude. You know, he's just grinding, man. And he's a phenomenal IGL. I mean, he IGL'd me in Average Aiden's tournament, and we actually ended up winning. You know, and I was like washed back then. Like I'm not that great right now, but I was bad. I rewatched it recently, and it was bad. But so I know he has the IGL and capabilities, and I think that's what Deeds and Gent are missing and what they need. Because if Gent and Deeds could just focus on being the shooters, Onmu the brain, you know, I think something can happen.
And the M&K.
And he's got the M&K, yeah.
You get the M&K advantage, because there definitely are some situations. Yeah, okay. So like everybody and their brother, everybody who you used to like view as like, oh, that is like a bang player, they're all playing Hound now. There's been a mass switch from like Zero, Sweet, like every like M&K player is now on Hound versus the Bangalore.
I think it makes a lot of sense, in the sense that as an IGL, you got to figure out where to go, how to push something, you know, how to attack. And, you know, instead of having to ask somebody to, hey, scan, you can now scan yourself, see where the enemies are at, you know, figure out a little bit of a weak point here. And that's sort of, you know, you start the strategy up on how to push them. So I think it's the right choice. Especially now that you don't have digis on SMGs, which, by the way, breaks my heart as a Bangalore main.
Yeah.
But fellas, another thing, huge shout out to Apex for taking the digi off the wingman. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, no, they did that with
That was
haste.
Actually some big news. So
with haste.
They did that so fast. So the wingman was a problem, right? The wingman was a problem last season, but you had SMGs, you had digital threats still on them, so you're saying I could still use SMGs, like that's fine. Then you go into season 20, and immediately you're like, okay, this is a fucking problem. Like this is not good. And they went so quickly into fixing that thing. Not only did they lower the mag size, they made it to where it only has the 1 times the red dot sight, and then I think they did, what was the other thing? There was something else.
Took boosted off.
Yep.
They took boosted loader off. So immediate change on that, and that huge shout out to them. Huge shout out to them for that.
Don't get it twisted. That shit is still broken.
It's still good though.
So OP. But
picked it up today,
it's
bro.
not as like dude, like when it's like one of the only digiguns, it's just not even remotely close to being a fair fight. Especially if you were fighting somebody with two of them, like
Or
it's
M&K.
just it was chalk.
As Bangalore smoking their feet, walking around.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here. I will say this. So I
Nah.
tweeted that, and I forgot who it was. Oh, I think it was Hodsick. It was Hodsick
Mhm.
that said people are sleeping on the Mozam hammers, which I agree is a fairly good weapon now that it's one of the few, like, guns that you could put a digi on. But when you compare the Wingman, so my tweet was Wingman with a digi being the only good weapon with a digi is so OP, something needs to happen. Podsick said, yeah, you're sleeping on the Mozam hammers. And even Rambo said, yeah, tell him Hodsick. Here's the thing. Would you rather have a Mozam hammers or a Wingman? Care Pack Wingman?
I mean, Care Pack Wingman.
Exactly.
It's not really a debate. I don't. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're up close, you could stand some sort of a chance. But the thing is, Wingman, you could shoot a guy from a foot away, or you could shoot a guy from 100 feet away. It's still going to do 50 to the body, 95 to the head. It's going to wreck somebody. So, shout out to Apex and the Respawn team for. I mean, I think that was the quickest change I've ever seen in the 5-year history of Apex when it came to something being a problem. So
very fast.
The
only other one I can think of was when they changed the shields in season 6. I think it was like a week and a half that they changed it back to the regular shields. I don't know if you guys remember that.
That was bad. Minus 25.
Felt like Call of Duty. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would love to see this be the normal, the status quo for Apex when it comes to fixing stuff that are issues. Because I think
we'll see how long it takes with the cheaters. Because I'm hoping for the best, but like that is something that is very difficult to be optimistic about, given how they've handled it.
Let's get into it right now then, because I think this is a perfect segue into season 20 as a whole. Because I want to get the cheating thing right out of the way, like just to rip right through it. Let's get into Apex season 20. We've now had a full amount of time to sit back and play it. We know it's good. I would say we know it's probably not that good. We know a lot of the things that a lot of the pro teams are running right now in scrims. We're probably going to expect to see a lot of that. We'll talk about all that first. Number one thing is the cheating situation. It is horrendous right now. It has leaked over into some of my games. I've never really experienced a guy with wall hacks before. Usually, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. I don't really notice it, but there was one where I clearly noticed it, and you're like, okay, that's okay. Like, I get it now. And when you have somebody leaking into like gold lobbies, right? Then it's a serious problem. It's very, very bad. They lowered the level requirement to get into ranked to 20, and I know why they do it. It's like, okay, we want our newer players who just got into this game for season 20. It's a banger season. Like, everything's so good. Everything's so crisp and clean. We want them to be able to play ranked and not have to wait, however long it takes to get to level 50 to be able to do it. But the second you do that, the floodgates are open to all of the cheating accounts and people trying to get the 4Ks, the 20 kills, the Predator, whatever they want. They are now open to that. And it's been really, really bad. From your guys' experience, how bad has it been? And also, what do you guys think that they should do?
You want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fun time, especially in that like when you're getting on like somewhat early morning EST. Like, I've been hopping around like 7ish, and like that's 7 to like noon. Like, so APAC is a region that is notorious for having a lot of cheaters, and so that there's so many cheaters on the APAC servers that APAC cheaters, in an effort to get away from other APAC cheaters, come to NA. And then, as well as just other like fairly talented, like I'm not saying like every APAC player is a cheater, right? Because there are definitely APAC players that are out there that are just very talented at the game and are just ballers. But there is a lot of them out there who are just straight cheating. and they just so happen to be traveling over to the good old North American servers and filling up those. Like, I've had games where I've had like 4 or 5 different cheater teams that I've interacted with throughout one lobby, and then there's just, when you have that like game after game after game, and like when you have a rank system that's good, right? When you have a rank system that's good and punishes you for doing bad, it doesn't feel very fair when you're continually getting punished for doing bad and dying to cheaters. Because then it's just like, it feels like you're just like helplessly, like there's like nothing you can do but just keep losing. Like, and when you're losing at like minus 75, minus 100, minus 100, that it stacks. And like, it's such a good rank system, because I had a game where I got top 3. I was 3rd place with 1 KP, and I lost 2 LP. I lost 2 RP, which means that it's a really good system. And it just, when it's so hard to gain and then so easy to die to a cheater, it's just not a very fun combo, and it makes it difficult to remain positive while participating in it. But even then, it's just an opportunity for you to just say, fuck it, like, it happens, we go next, you know? And I just got to a point where I literally was like, almost like crazily just being like, hey guys, did I tell you I love Apex Legends? Hey, did I tell you guys that I love Apex Legends? We're running away from like 2 cheaters, and like, hey guys, did I tell you that I love Apex Legends? And, you know, you just you find different ways to deal with it, and then you move on. But yeah, dude, it's absolutely horrendous. I'm gonna be honest. I legitimately, I think I've talked about it at some point on the pod, but I would be absolutely shocked at this point that there is not like somebody, or EA as a company as a whole, that is getting some sort of cut from these people who are making these cheats. Because it just makes absolutely no sense to me how, like, cheating as an industry is like a multi-million-dollar industry. And EA, money hungry as you can get, there's just no shot that they don't have their hands in the multi-million-dollar cookie jar that is the cheating industry. And then it would also, like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me of like why it's like such a rampant problem, and it seems like nothing is done to address it. That, like, I mean, there's got to be some sort of deal here happening, because like there's a company that is that big, has that many resources. Even like, all it would take legitimately is for you to hire 4 people, pay them $30K a year each, and you got 2 people to cover like a 12-hour shift or so, and then you have 2 people to cover another 12-hour shift, and then you have the entire time covered where you can send in manual bans and get people gone, because you'll fight the same cheater all day, and it doesn't matter. And they, as Pete said, they're shameless. They don't even try to hide it because they're not worried about getting caught. And I do think that I think Peeps made a fantastic point earlier about how the zone healing, the fact that is no longer a way for these boosters to be able to level up the accounts that they're getting, because boosting, that's a large industry too. They be making hella bread boosting.
I get DMs all the time being like, hey, can you promote my boosting business on like our Instagram, on the Apex Instagram and the Grab My Banner Instagram? Can you promote my boosting business? I'm like, no, I'm not.
How much are they offering?
Like, no.
How much are they offering?
No, they make
well,
money.
it's not.
We could probably
couple zeros. Couple zeros. You know.
Yeah.
So
5K for a little.
I do want to say this. Believe it or not, all right, and it might be hard for us to believe because we're Apex players at the end of it. Apex, compared to all the other games except for Valorant, has the best anti-cheat. Believe it or not.
Which is crazy.
All right.
No, I actually believe you.
Valorant, it's pretty bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, because Valorant makes you download something on your PC, and you can't play Val without having that run. Right, so it's constantly checking your PC for any cheats or anything like that, right? So I think what Riot is doing is what every, gaming company needs to do. Another thing,
competitive gaming for sure. Like, if it's a competitive environment, I mean, there just needs to be more like I'm not even saying that we need the whole kernel thing, because I think that's what it's called. But there's got to be an efficient way for you to interact with a cheater and then be able to not die to the same guy 5 times.
Yeah, and I will say this: I'm pretty sure the security team for Apex, the team that bans, is bigger than just hideouts.
Oh,
I know
100%.
for a fact. I know
and
they have.
Okay, and I want to make something real clear. I am not trying to insinuate in any way, shape, or form that hideouts is the guy that is getting like paid out and is like not doing it. I just think it's like EA. I feel like it has to be like an EA wide thing, because that would be absolutely. I mean, that would be absolutely tragic.
Listen,
Like,
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Going on,
right? Because here's the thing: if you look at it from a business standpoint, right, for them to create a new anti-cheat would take millions, probably, right?
something like
Maybe
that.
a mil, maybe a mil. I mean, can we Google that? How much money does it cost to create an anti-cheat for video games?
That was some sick typing right there.
Bro, my RuneScape days taught me well, dude. Honestly, Grand Exchange, bro, back in the day, dude. Varrock,
yeah.
you know, selling
Yeah.
stuff. All right, I'm not really getting a hard answer, but bro, it's got to be over $1 million.
The fuck,
right?
Google?
So now, while this anti-cheat team is working hard, guess who's working harder?
Cheaters.
The cheaters.
Yeah,
The people that are creating these cheats. Because believe it or not, it's an industry that is raking in over $100 million a year.
You know what's so crazy though? Is like if the cheaters just worked as hard as they did to cheat on actually like improving their skill. Like,
but there's certain levels they can never hit.
Well, dude,
yeah,
I, mean,
I guess, but
that's like looking at Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's say Hal's Michael Jordan, right? And these cheaters are watching Hal, and they're like, dude, if I play enough, or if I, learn enough, I could play like Hal. You can't. You can't.
But that's the thing, is like you don't get anything from it though. Like it's not like you're getting any accolades. Like you may be able to get the badges in the game, but like it's not like you're gonna get paid a bunch of money, right? Or am I crazy?
Bro, you got to understand, a lot of these people probably are not familiar with winning anything in life, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, you cheat in video games. I think the only time I've ever cheated in video games was Grand Theft Auto, when you're like R2, L1, blah, 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 like unlimited ammo. I spawned the tank from the sky. That's fine. But I think there is a certain, like, I think the people who are the top, 0.1% of Apex players out of the millions. So me and you, that's me and you, E. That's included, right? In the top 0.1% out of the millions of people that play the game.
Easily.
Right?
Top 1.0.2. I'm right behind you guys, so.
It's a stretch, but we'll talk about it. Why?
I don't know about all that. I mean, we got.
Listen.
You're
I have
a casual king.
Listen, I've set goals for myself this season. We'll save it for the hard part, but I do have some goals that I'm gonna talk over with the boys, see if I can get in that top 1%. Anyway, continue with your point.
I think.
Oh, now he's hurt.
No. I believe. You just work ethic. Some people are born with the quick response time, and like we grew up playing video games. And that, we were able to transfer that into playing at a really high level. There's a lot of people that no matter how much they play the game, they can get better, and they will get better depending on how much time they put in. There's a ceiling, and once they hit that, they're not passing it. And that's where I think a lot of these cheaters are coming from. But back to the anti-cheat thing. Let's say Apex comes out with a new anti-cheat, right? That they just spent $1 million on. Bro, these people, and it's mostly in Asian countries that these cheats are coming from, right? Because for some reason they are phenomenal at just figuring this out. They're going to come up with a new cheat to beat the new anti-cheat. And now Apex has to spend another $1 million and another $1 million and another $1 million, and it's going to be an ongoing cycle. So I think it's a never, I think it's a lose-lose situation for Apex. business wise. But and you know what's funny too? You said this. A lot of the cheaters come from APAC, right? And like I want to make it known there is so much talent in the APAC regions. And for anybody that's not familiar with the APAC regions, that's the countries on the Pacific Ocean, right? So a lot of the Asian countries, Australia, all those countries right there. There is so much talent there, right? But there is a lot of cheaters. And the ironic thing is, in a lot of these Asian countries, it's against the law to cheat in video games. Period. Have you guys heard that?
No.
I believe it's in China and a few other Asian countries like Japan. You could go to jail and get fined for cheating in video games. Believe it or not. I think we need to Google that.
Well, fact
hit
check real quick on that.
Hit the quick Google real quick.
Yeah. So far, China has opened about 30 cases against accused cheaters, made 120 arrests, and multiple have been sentenced with jail time. So
that's just a funny way to go to jail. Like, you got caught cheating in Fortnite, now you're getting locked up, getting tossed in the back of a police car. That's just a funny visual. That's a funny
I guess
visual.
In Japan, in Japan they'll arrest you as well. So pretty ironic that happens, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think honestly, so I agree with the fact that if you keep making an anti-cheat, they'll find a way to get by it because that's what they've always done. I do think, though, if you go to E's idea on how you fix it, it's by getting somebody who's always on call at all times. Like if you have, and I would say get more than one. I think it's crazy that we just have. Yeah,
10-man squad. Give me 10-man squad. Put them on shifts, alternating shifts. You got multiple people cover multiple shifts, and then you just have an easy access Discord that you can send in clips to, and then they just hit the little review, being like okay, and then like do a little further investigation if they view it like they need to, and then boom, you just get rid of the guy.
That's what I think that's the best way to do it. Like you're probably going to end up spending the same amount of money to make the new anti-cheat, right? Because all the salaries. But at the end of the day, at least you're going to have somebody who just the same as everybody else, even if they come up with new cheats, you still have the guys there. You have the manpower to be like, okay, well, we can handle this because we can tackle a majority of them. You're still going to run into it no matter what, but you were probably still going to run into it if you got the new anti-cheat anyway. So you're still going to have something.
Yeah, I would say all included. Like, let's say, like, it would probably cost for like a 10-man squad like $1 million a year, with like benefits, all that. Like, treat them nice, treat them well. Like, if you got 10 bodies on a security team and alternating shifts, so you always at any time had somebody that you could like actively know that somebody's going to be looking at it and checking into it. I think that. Wow, I would say like on paper, it might not look like it's gonna make the money back necessarily, but I genuinely think that the amount of like how much better it would make the game for all of the content creators, for all of the streamers, and all of the people who like really garner attention to the game. I really think it could go a really long way in terms of just making the quality of life better and making everybody happier.
And it's also, you look at like, okay, you would be basically playing, you would be basically paying for the peace of mind of the people playing your game, which has already proven can make you a shit ton of money with the situation already happening. And when you bring up the content creator thing, I know a lot of people roll their eyes at like, okay, well, it's not catering just to content creators. It's for the entire player base. But I think that in turn will help out the rest of the player base, because what happens is everybody who plays this game has some sort of social media. They either have, an Instagram where they see reels, they have TikTok where they see the little clips, maybe even YouTube, whatever it may be. You are seeing and consuming content of the games that you are playing I would say a good 80% of the people who play the game can like consume some sort of content from it. And when you get more content coming out because less people are getting frustrated with the game, i.e., like Nick Merckx, like you have, and his may be a completely different reason, but if you have all of that stacked up, you're seeing more and more content come out. You're seeing more and more people consume that. They jump on, they play, they don't run into those feel bad moments. The player base continues to grow. The game continues to thrive. You have, instead of 5 years, we're talking about 10, and now you've made triple your money, right? Like that's just the way I see it. You take the loss on hiring the manpower, you get the manpower, and you use that manpower to at least keep the content creators and the people who play this game every single day for their job happy so that they can continue to make the content for your game and make the people who watch their content happy. People who watch their content are usually playing that game. They're happy, and it's cyclical. I think it's just going to end up being a much better system overall. No matter what, you got to do something. Like at this point, you got to do something. Like we said with the wingman being a problem, they made a very quick adjustment. It's a live service game. You might as well make quick adjustments. The thing I used to hate the most about Apex was the fact that they had the live service game option, but they would wait until either splits or they would wait till a new season to make a change. They made this change early on and quickly with the wingman. I'd like to see something with the cheaters as well, and I think you guys would agree. It's just like if you have the option to change and make changes every single day, then do it. I mean, early days of Fortnite, they were making changes on the day, like every single day, either adding new things, and then when those things got added, if they were shitty, taking them out. If they were too overpowered, reducing the power. We have that option here in Apex. Let's utilize it, I think, is what it boils down to. So I would like to see some more manpower. Like, I don't know, like Peep said, there's probably more people than just hideouts. There has to be, right?
For
Like
a fact.
there has to be.
Yeah, no,
But-
there's definitely more people than just hideouts
But
that are involved with security.
they still clearly need a little bit more. Like
No, without a doubt.
they need more, right? Like they need more. Okay, getting away from the cheating and all of that.
One
you have another
quick
point?
thing. Yeah. So I Googled it, and I wanted to bring the light a little bit about the numbers, all right? For PUBG Mobile only, in less than 3 years, one, Cheats company made $77 million. In less than 3 years, all right, $77 million for PUBG Mobile only.
All right,
It's an
you guys
insane
can't get mad at me
business.
if I start promoting the boosting businesses, bro.
You
I
know,
mean,
I-
I mean, we got to get our hand in this.
Listen, if
Tell
we
me-
get-
I'm just kidding. That's a
Hey,
joke.
hey,
That's a
What
joke.
are we doing?
4
20K?
O's.
20K?
4 O's. 4 O's minimum. I do it for
Okay.
10. Three each.
Three each, and then we saw someone to Connor, and then
saw some over. Yeah,
You know?
I like that. I
I
like
got
that.
bills. I got student loans. You know?
We all do, right? we
all
got
right. So for all cheat makers out there, you got our price.
Hit our line.
Got
10K if you want a little advertising, little boost your brand.
I will say, if they're making $77 million in 3 years, we're going to need a lot more, boys. All right? Have your people
I
talk
think
to
we should
our people.
Oh, yeah.
30K. Should we up our number 30K?
we
I
should
mean,
up it. We should up
77
it.
million? No, we're talking
Yeah.
6 figures, bro. We're talking 6 figures.
Come on, man.
figures. Come on, man.
We can get a small slice of that pie and still be making the 6 figures, right? And that's
what
just
I'm
PUBG Mobile. We're not even talking about our game, the game that we actually play.
Come on.
Okay, but
Next
I
week
will-
you go ahead.
I will say that Peeps, when you brought up the fact that just how much money these guys are making, it does make sense why that from like a anti-cheat perspective, how they're able to always be like a step ahead, because like they probably just got like just rooms of just like
Tech
high
people.
IQ grinders slaving away trying to figure out how to keep these things going. And so yeah, I do think that the really only real solution is the manpower. Probably I'll take back my EA getting a cut, because I can see how they would just be able to be producing cheats that, regardless of what EA is attempting to do, the cheaters are just doing what they're doing better.
all day long.
Yeah,
which
Like,
is just
'cause
unfortunate, and it sucks.
you have that much money to sit on. You're gonna have all day to come up with ways around whatever they put out. You know, like
Yeah.
you're just gonna have so much time. You have the money. Like you're gonna have so many options, and that's just once again that's just PUBG Mobile. That's just PUBG
77 million.
Mobile. Imagine Apex fucking Legends, dude. Like that.
Like,
It's got to be so crazy
like
how much is being made off that.
you know how we grind Apex ranked?
Yeah, there's people that are just doing that
For cheats.
developing cheats,
For
like literally
cheats.
just sitting coding for
10 plus hours a day, bro, just
16
sitting
hours
there.
a day, just grinding. And they probably got they're probably like 8 deep in a room, and they probably got like
And it
6
smells in
rooms in
there.
a building.
You know it
and they're
smells.
Oh, it
probably
smells so bad.
just
Yeah.
probably just
Cheeto
reek
dust
some
in
money
the air.
too.
You know, Doritos,
Yeah.
Mountain Dew here and there. No offense, Mountain
Definitely.
Dew. I do love you.
I do love Mountain Dew as well. Yeah. I do
Baja
love Mountain Dew as
Blast.
well. But dude, they started putting them in the bottles again in the gas stations. Big Soda has a grip on me that I don't know if I'll ever be able to let it go. I'm gonna try my best though. I'm trying out these liquid deaths. It's water. It's water.
Fire.
Believe it or
How
not.
you-
Really great water.
You're drinking something called Liquid Death.
You
Dude,
haven't had
yeah,
one?
this one's called Mango Chainsaw, right? Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. Okay, moving on into some of the other more positive things about season 20 because I do want to get to it. You guys brought up the rank system, and EU said that this rank system is so good, and I 100% agree. Like it is actually for the first time, I truly feel like it's in probably the best spot it's ever been. We've always brought back season 13 split 1 talking about that rank system. I think it's even better than that one. Like that one highly prioritized positioning and making sure you got into the top 10 and then even more like into the top 5, top 3. Like this one, I think it gives a good balance of getting what you deserve for your kills while also rewarding your placement. So I just want you guys to kind of run through, talk about the rank system a little bit, your guys' favorite parts of it, and how much you guys are enjoying ranked with when cheaters aren't involved.
Yeah, I definitely a much better rank system, a lot closer to season 13. I love that you're actually getting rewarded for getting kills. You know, in the last few seasons, like you got kills. Like I remember there'd be games, you know, where I have 10 to 15 kills between me and my teammates, where you know it's not even top 10 yet, and we're still negative RP, which is insane. You know, I shouldn't be killing a fourth of the lobby without getting rewarded for it. I do wish that they would tweak it a little bit, that a little easier for the placement. Because like E said, he was top 3 with only 1 kill, right? Which you got to step it up. I'm guessing somebody was ratting.
Dude, I mean, we were just going through zone. I mean, it was just just getting like respawn, dying, getting respawn. Like it was tough scenery.
But
It was a scratch and claw.
Feel it. I mean, that's every day in season 20, you know. But I don't think you should ever be top 3 or even top 5 and negative KP and negative RP, right? So maybe a little bit of a tweak, but again, huge shout out to the Respawn team for listening to a vast majority of the community, man. Not just the pros, which a lot of the casual community thinks so. Like if you look on Twitter, anytime, you know, the content creators and the pros are saying, oh wow, like, you know, this sounds great. You got a lot of comments in there like, oh dude, they only listen to you guys. They only listen to you guys because trust us, if they listen to us, the game would be completely different. Right. So, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm only 14 hours in on season 20. So still got a lot to go to really get a feel and a really good taste for season 20. But other than the cheaters, I think the armors, I like it a lot. Especially for not necessarily towards end games, but I like it a lot for early games, off drop fights, right? Where everybody has white no matter what. And I think that's makes us so good because, you know, a lot of times you would drop with one of the team. Somebody's got a purple on the other team. It always happens. I mean, at least that's my luck. And you know they got a conduit on the team. So that's 300 HP on that character, unless he's a rev in alt already because he popped in alt, 2 alt excels. So I like it a lot. I think the perk system phenomenal. It added a really like a lot of depth to the characters. And it made I love how all the really good characters, the characters that were really in meta these last few seasons, they gave them shittier perks, and all the shittier characters in the past couple seasons, they gave them really good perks, right? So it's a breath of fresh air for the character meta. Um, the one thing I'm not fully enjoying is the SMG changes. You know, they're nerfing the R9 again. They're nerfing the SMGs. No digis on the SMGs anymore. Which I understand. I get it. But Bangalore crutch, man. Yeah, I was playing Caustic today though. Believe it or not, super fun.
There we go.
Dude, I know you know your way around the caustic.
Super fun, man. Oh my god, I was having a blast, bro. Inside buildings where you just chucking barrels, you know, just like hiding.
No, I've been ripping the caustic on World's Edge, especially. Definitely the strongest map, playable on Olympus. I do not enjoy a SP caustic though.
No,
that's tough scenery.
I'm gonna try them out on all the maps. I tried it on Olympus, which has a lot of open land. But dude, I was fun, man. Fun.
It's a good time.
Love it.
One of the more fun characters, no doubt.
I agree.
So getting into the characters here a little bit, I would like to go through some of the picks that of legends that probably weren't going to be picked at all before this change was made, that you guys have started to see kind of trickle into ALGS and ranked, because I think that's going to be the thing we're talking about big time going into after this break is over and we get into the next few match days. We've been seeing some Caustics for sure. We've been seeing some Bangalores, or still seeing some Bangalores. We've been seeing some Bloodhounds. So any other ones that kind of stand out, and the effectiveness that we're going to see with some of these new legend changes?
Seen a couple Maggie teams, which
Maggie's fun. The double drill.
Oh my god, it sounds like a nightmare from hell, bro. Honestly, haven't been hit by it yet. I've been hit by the ball with the thermites. Not fun, especially not in a building. You know, it's like pinball. Not fun to be on the receiving end. I'm sure throwing that ball in and like having your team, you know, busting through that door like the FBI must be a blast. But I have not experienced that yet.
Yeah, I would say Bloodhound has become a borderline must-pick character, especially with the digi-nerf to SMGs. The ultimate is just unbelievably strong in fights. Like, it used to be like something to be like, okay, like, yeah, it makes team fighting better because you have just one player just going super silent, running around, no footstep audio, just moving. And now it's that player has the ability to use SMGs and use ARs and have a digi through smoke, because we're still seeing a substantial amount of Bangalores. Bloodhound stocks have just gone up crazy. And then with the addition to like all the perks, I don't think that it was really necessarily the perk decision that brought Caustic back into meta, of more so just people just decided like, oh, we're just going to start playing Caustic again. And then once you get a few teams that are just playing Caustic, the only counter to a Caustic is to have one of your own. And so then it just forces more and more teams to pick up Caustic. And so I think that's what has led to this Caustic resurgence that we've seen. I think the most prevalent comp we're going to see in competitive is going to be Bloodhound, Bangalore, Caustic. That's what just a substantially large amount of teams have been running. I think we're going to see some Watsons that are going to be thrown into the mix. Definitely some Valkyries that are going to get thrown in the mix, as that's going to be really good for these early rotate teams. You're going to see a few Caustic Gibby teams. I think there's going to be a few teams that are going to be going back to that, the Valkyrie, Caustic, Gibby. I think that this is going to be a season where we see more, like a very large diversity amongst the teams. I know that we've had seasons where once like that meta is set and found, that just everybody and their brother, it's like you got 20 teams deep that are basically playing the same thing. I do not think that that's going to be the case. I think with all of the different ways that you can play around these legends and all these different perks that have been added in, it allows each team to really pick the legends that are best for how they specifically want to play the game. and it's going to be really, really, really fun to watch, in my opinion. And I think Peeps was right on with the armors. The armors is such a good change. It makes like fighting and off drop way, way more fun, way less RNG based, and overall, I think it's a buff to edge teams, because if you can find like there's sometimes where you're rotating in and you're able to snag like 3 or 4 of these ammo caches, hit 2 or 3 beacons, and then you're just like walking in on teams and you have purple armor and you haven't even looked at anybody yet, and you're pulling up on teams that are like double blue and maybe a purple, and you're like, you hit a vault, you got that cache, you hit a care pack drop, 3 caches, couple scans, and you're like borderline triple red. It's you're still gonna have that play style alive. It's not gonna be as much zone oriented. And I will say that the crafter change has been phenomenal. The way that you can just get in and out so much faster, and it's just like it at some points it can be like, oh well, it sucks that you can only get one thing. But I would say overall, it's a good change. Like there's so many good changes, and at its core, it's such a good time to be playing Apex Legends right now, minus the cheaters,
minus that one thing,
minus the one thing that ruins it all.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the crafter change too is they drop so many fucking crafters. Like they're dropping all the time, and then late
12.
game, you can get like you can. I think we're going to see a lot more people get called in to ALGS matches, because the fact that you can hit it, get your teammates, you don't have to worry about how many points you have. You can grab your teammates, run to a thing real fast. Late game, they're dropping still. You can, if you're able to do it without somebody peeking you or whatever. I do think we're going to see more teams bringing players back in those matches, and I think that's just going to be big, because it'll be how smart somebody utilizes the system that is there. And I'm excited to see it. I really am. I noticed nobody mentioned Conduit. I feel like Conduit on Stormpoint. Am I crazy to say that we're going to see some Conduit still on Stormpoint?
Definitely for the teams that are contesting off drop. I mean, I think the ability to just heal a shield right away, definitely not as many as Season 19, because, again, you don't have the RNG with the purples, you don't have the RNG with the blues, which is an extra, 100 or 75 HP to one of your teammates. But I think the fact that you can craft your teammates back, by having a conduit on the team, and not only that, just the off drop capabilities, man. I think we're definitely going to see a few.
Okay, now getting away from just pure legends, I'd also like to talk about the. Oh, go ahead.
Before we move away from pure legends, I will say that the character that feels like you're just that feels like an absolute problem right now is still Revenant in ranked, because dude, that with the nerf to SMGs, with the man, that character just does not die. And if they got a conduit on the team, which they almost always do, if you got a Revenant, you got a conduit to go with it. It's disgustingly strong. It's not something that I don't think we'll see it transition much at all to comp, just because of how different it plays out. But if you're in the rank scene and you're trying to stack that LP, having a Revenant is definitely a good way to help make it happen.
Saw a screenshot from somebody on Twitter this week while
Presley,
I was taking a week
friend
off.
of the program. Yeah.
Was it Press?
I watched that
Presley.
happen live. Yeah,
what,
he literally
400 something damage
past him. He hit him for like an 88. He hit him for 88 with one PK shot. With one Mastiff shot, and then I think he did 152 with the other combined. So
that's not what I'm talking about.
That's not what you're talking about? Okay,
dude,
yeah, he hit him for almost like way more damage, and he just doesn't die.
There was a screenshot of a Revenant being hit for over 380, and guess what? He survived. 380. Imagine seeing that on your death recap, bro. I'm breaking a controller. Without a doubt.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, so that's the one thing too, is not only are we going to see different legends being played in ALGS, we're also just going to see a variance of compositions in regular competitive, just because of how different this thing is playing. Because even when, I think you're always going to get a little bit of a variance when you're playing comp versus ALGS, but even more so now because last season you were still running, the Bangalore Catalyst and sorry, Bangalore Catalyst. What was the other one? I'm blanking on the other one. Bangalore
For what?
Comp?
for comp like that most teams have been running.
Bang, Cat, and then either Horizon.
Horizon.
It was
Yeah,
Bang, Cat,
Horizon. Sorry, I've
That was the
completely forgot
one.
about Horizon. But like a lot of times in comp, you were still running that same team. You're still running all of those 3 legends still. Now you're just going to get a bunch of different teams running around. Just a ton of different teams running around. So it's going to be definitely different. The weapons have also changed a lot because of the SMG changes and stuff like that. And the 30-30 also got a nerf. I think people are still going to kind of run 30-30 in ALGS, but as far as some of the weapons you guys have noticed that people have been running, anything that stands out?
Scout, in my opinion, best marksman. Dude, I might be coping, but I do think that the way that the 30 shoots is like slightly different. Like I know that they nerfed it in a bunch of different ways, but it just doesn't shoot quite the same. And I'm not even talking about like damage wise. I'm talking about like the way that the bullets are traveling. I think are slightly off. I could just be coping crazy because like I took a few days off before the new season, and so I could have just gotten out of practice, came back, and then was like, oh, it's bad now.
Lost the mojo.
The Scout is that gun this season, I would say, for the most part, if you're looking for like the premier ranged weapon, because a 30 with a purple mag on it gets 10 bullets, while a Scout with no mag has 10 bullets, and I think it only has like 4 or 5 less damage per bullet. And then you have the fact that all you need is a gray mag on a Scout to go from 10 bullets to 15 off of a gray mag. Like you get a sight on that thing and you're hard farming at range. And that's like you literally all you need is like a 2x or like a 3 or a 2x4 and then a gray mag, and that's literally all you need, and you'd be good for like late game. And so I would say that that's a gun that's really like a good go-to. I would say the Nemesis is probably the best AR at the moment. That thing has been very strong and was being outclassed by the Hemlock, but with the Hemlock nerfs that have taken place, it's toned that down a little bit to the place where I think Nemi is in that number 1 spot, especially if that thing gets charged up throughout a fight. That shit is so broken when it's fully purring and you're just like burst, like the amount of damage output is absurd. For the SMGs, I would say that it's really between the Prowler and the Volt. The Prowler is more difficult to use, especially with that little added I don't it's like, I don't know if they added kick, but like there's a and they did it with the Hemlock too. There's like a pause from when you like pull the trigger to when the bullets actually shoot. It's like a little bit delayed compared to like it has been, and then I think that makes it a little bit more difficult to use. But I mean, the Prowler itself, especially on burst, is going to be more difficult to hit your shots on than a Volt. And so, but dude, the R9, they did that thing so foul. That like they had been nerfing it, and now they finally put it to the place where it's just, I think it's fallen to like that worst spot. Like, I think I'd rather have a car than it, and I'd definitely rather have a Volt, definitely rather have a Prowler. I don't know where I'd probably take an R9 over an alternator. I don't know though, but
with disruptors, no.
With disruptors, you're taking the 9, or you taking alternator?
Alternator.
Oh, alternator with disruptor for sure.
Thing destroys. I think the alternator with disruptors, I would actually put it number 1 or number 2 between the Prowler.
Yeah,
Prowler and alternator. Fair. I'm not a big Volt guy, man. I don't know what it is about it. It just,
dude, it's just be clipping. I don't know what you're on. Especially on Bangalore with a Digi, with the Digi Volt. Come on,
ain't no Digi no more.
I know. RIP. But I'm sorry, like previously.
No, I will say, if I ever did run the Volt, even when you could put a Digi on it, I hated the Volt with a sight on it. Hated it. Just to me, it felt like it shot differently. So that was definitely an R9. throw the Digi right on there. Car if I can't find an R9. But now to me, it's Prowler all day long. I mean, 35 bullets in a mag, bro. You shoot 5 bullets every time you shoot. It's hard to beat. Hard to beat.
Very true. Yeah, no, Prowler's definitely up there. And I would say like if you're hitting all of your Prowler shots and somebody else is hitting all of their whatever shots, you're gonna win with the Prowler.
There we go. There we go. I love it. I love to hear it. Okay, before we get into send you guys on the rest of your week, I wanted to run through some of these top 8 teams in each of these regions. Now, because NA has added 2 more spots, obviously those spots have been taken away from some of these other regions here. So instead of top 12, like we know NA will get, all of these regions, EMEA, APAC North, and South, will only have their top 8 teams going to land. So I'm going to run through those real quick because we cover NA so extensively, we hardly get any time to do any of the other regions. So I'm going to run through these real fast. We've got EMEA, our top 8 teams. Number 1 is Aurora. We knew they'd be there. Number 2 is Element 6. 3, we got 07. 4, Cybercats. 5, Orglis and Hungry. 6, Outplayed. 7, 2R1C. And number 8, Passion UA. I did have some notes just from looking at the stats here. E6, the number 2 team in this region, is absolutely dominating the region in kills and is a major reason why they are number 2 right now. They have 120, and the next closest team, which is Aurora, has 101. So a lot of their points are coming from KP. They only have 1 win so far throughout all of their match days. They have been in the top 5 9 times, so they have a little bit of a problem finishing at times, but they are getting the kills, and it is carrying them up to this point. Some teams sitting outside of that top 8 that you would expect to be there. Alliance is sitting 10 points off from the land cutoff, but they also have only played 3 days. The other teams have played 4. So that is EMEA. Moving over into APAC North here, we've got Fnatic at number 1, Reject Winity at number 2, 3 is Riddle, 4, Kinotrope Gaming, 5, The Crazy Raccoon, 6, HAO, 7, Setaguchi Sparks, and 8, E36. The only note I have from here, some of the teams sitting outside, Pulverex and North Eption are on the outside looking in. Not by a whole lot, but they are sitting on the outside looking in APAC North. And then in APAC South, we have number 1. We've got Legends Gaming with friend of the program, Strafing Flame. He's been on the show. Shout out to Strafing Flame. They are doing their shit over there in APAC South. Then we have Wonton Dumplings at number 2. 3, we've got the Boogie Borders. 4, we've got Heroes. 5, Serenity. 6, Outside. 7, Team Burger. Another Team Burger with Pricey and Sharky. And then number 8, X and Y. Some of the teams sitting outside of that, Dreamfire and both the HDY White and HDY Black. They're both, MDY. I said HDY. MDY White and MDY Black are on the outside looking in on APAC South. Those teams have traditionally played pretty decent. So those are the teams on the outside looking in APAC South. So those are some of the teams in the other regions. A lot of those teams you expect to see at these lands coming up because they've been there for a very long time. So keep your eye out on that. And those are all of the other teams from the other regions. Ladies and gents, we're going to hit a quick ad. And on the other side, we are going to send you guys on your way with the heart to heart and send you guys throughout the rest of your week. Let's get it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, ladies and gents, it is heart to heart time. Heart to heart time. I kind of want to go first this week on purpose because I have a goal that I've set for myself this season. And so far, so good. Now, I know I'm probably never going to get to that master's level. I think if I found, like, if I really grinded for it, I could. If I had more time, I'd be able to do it. But I just don't have that time right now. So instead, what I've transferred my goal to, instead of getting a specific rank, I want my season kill death ratio to be at a certain level. And I've set it at 2. That's what I want my season KD ratio to be. Right now, overall, throughout my entire career of Apex, it's sitting at 1.55. That's where I'm hanging around, 1.55. So far, so good on the season KD ratio, though, I'm sitting at a 1.93, and I've played, I think, over 50 games. So it's like decent. The highest I've ever had, I looked through my history in the early days of Apex, I had like a 3.13 with like a decent amount of
Solid.
games behind it.
Wait, what
So
season?
it was season 3, I believe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
sturdy.
pretty good. That's a really good KD, man.
Yeah, so and then we got skill based matchmaking, all that shit came in around right around season 3, and then things started to go downhill from there. But right now I'm at 1.93. I'm grinding, trying to just keep that KD up. That's my goal for this season. I think I could do it. I've been doing well. Been playing Conduit almost exclusively. I was doing that last season too, but I've been playing Conduit. Maybe a little bit of a crutch. I would say I'm a Conduit crutch at this point, but that's my goal. So I'm doing well. I'm going to keep everybody updated and post on that. But that's my heart to heart. I don't really have anything else other than that as far as the life goes. Anybody else want to go with theirs?
E, what you got?
I am. The gym grind's been going well.
Love that.
I've been fairly consistent with that. Been making sure that I get like my 4 lifts in and then 2 cardio days. And I will say, dude, ripping a vertical, I mean like a 12 incline like walk, if you do it long enough at a good enough pace, like that'll get you. And apparently like ripping stairs and like vertical walks is incredibly efficient at like burning calories. And so that's been fire. And then I've also been getting into the sauna fairly regularly, and that's been hidden. I would highly recommend that. And then in terms of just Apex, the grind, it has its moments. You know, you got your days where everything's going great, and then you got your days where you're minus 800, and then you get off early, and you just take it as they come. I'm gonna be focusing on like getting the YouTube guides out now that I've hit Pred. I really wanted to hit Pred so that way I'd be making the videos from the perspective of like somebody who's in Predator, showing how to effectively use all these different legends with all the different perks. And so I'm going to be putting a lot of time, energy, and intention into that. And I'm excited to see where that goes. And it should be fun.
Love that. Love that. I've been good, man. I've been good. I got a new girlfriend, so we've been spending some time. I've been taking a week off, just spending some time with her. She brought her dog, so she's visiting me right now. Evie.
Let's see Evie.
I think she's in my room. Text my girl.
But
Evie's the dog, not my girl. But so that's been good. Took my first break from gaming and streaming in I don't know how long, since Greece, which was September, right? So that was my first break since September. And it's been good, man. My body needed it, man. I spent 1,100 hours in season 19. So my body was hurting, my hands are hurting. So we got Evie right here. We got a surprise guest. Eve, come here.
Surprise guest. Here we go, Evie. Let's see the dog. Damn.
So she's a corgi, absolute cutie,
Damn.
absolute menace as well.
The
At
corgi
first I didn't
lore
want
lives
her.
on this podcast.
We're a corgi show.
We're a corgi
Who
show.
else
Ben
got
had
a
a
corgi?
corgi too.
Finn had
You
a
got a
corgi.
corgi?
Yeah,
Finn?
he had a corgi.
I love that. But yeah, no. At first I didn't want her on the bed at all because I don't like hair and all sorts of stuff where I'm sleeping. But I'm telling you, she like just crawls up to the edge of the bed, just looking at me like this, and I can't say no, dude. And I'm just like, all right, come up here. But last night she like slept in bed with us. Absolute menace, dude. Just had me on the edge of the bed, no blankets on me. She was like another girlfriend. It was just awful. So I slept awful last night. But she awesome dog, awesome girlfriend. Season 20. Can't complain, man. Can't complain. We get paid to play video games for a living. I'm living the dream, man. So it's gonna be cool. ALGS is coming back soon. I think on the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of action, a lot of new comps. A lot of new metas. And the boys are hungry, man. I've been hanging out a lot with. The other day we had dinner, and it was Zach from E8. We had Jen Burton from Dark Zero. We had Guild from Moist. We had Mac, who I believe is unsigned right now, but he's still in Pro League.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had the TSM boys. So we had 5 different Pro League teams out there at dinner, and we're all just talking shit, just having a good time. And the boys are hungry, man. They're hungry, and I've been ranking a lot with a lot of people that are in Pro League, whether it's in EA or NA. Everybody wants it, man. So I think it's setting the stage for a phenomenal LAN coming up. Fingers crossed Apex brings me back to host, because I would love to start screaming on the mic, Apex, what up? Again. So fingers crossed, man. Can't complain. Living the dream, baby.
There we go. Well, ladies and gents, we've got a lot in store coming up for the rest of the season, and some very exciting things on the horizon. I don't want to say too much, because anything could happen, but we've got some exciting things on the horizon. I'm very pumped, very excited to see what's going on here, and it's always awesome to have Peeps back on the show. Cannot wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. It's going to be a blast, and I can't wait to see it. So, ladies and gents, we're going to send you guys on the rest of your week, and we're chomping at the bit. We want some more ALGS. We're ready for it. I'm ready to lose more bets. I'm still 0 for 14 on Apex bets. So I need a bounce back. I need to bounce back in a big way. I need to find a way to at least win one. I just got to believe. That's really what it is. I just got to believe. So can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex Podcast. See ya.
Peace.